So when did you first discover Escarita? When did you first find
Well, when I was an adult, Sylvain brought this record, Escarita Meets the Vula, and just I think just because of the cover, I think he picked it up in New Orleans or something, and it's got an outrageous picture on the cover. He's got this huge pompadour and these wild rhinestone-studded glasses, and he plays the piano much like Little Richard. Little Richard took his style, I think, from Escarita. He was a balladeer before he heard Escarita. He's just a kind of a person. When you see and hear him, he has a profound effect on everybody, stylistically and musically and energy-wise.
Where's he from?
He lives in Brooklyn now. I don't know where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
He played down at Tramps a year or two ago. He's still around. He's a wild man.
How old do you think?
How old is he?
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's in his 50s.
Mm-hmm.
A young man, relatively young man.
What's his style of dress?
Well, now he's not into this drag as much as he was when in the 50s. But this album is like is a great document of the work he did in the 50s. It's got some wild songs on I'm Batty About Hattie and Juicy Miss Lucy and et cetera, et cetera.
Wow, I'll have to check into that. It's funny, I've never heard of it. That's wild. I'll have to check into that.
Just go to Tower and holler Escarita.
I think if it's okay, Dave, we should probably use a cigarette, because sometimes when you smoke and sometimes you don't, it's a little strange. And if you need to take a break, we'll just stop.
I'm okay.
Yeah, no time.
Okay.
Okay. David, what was the first outfit that you can remember ever putting on that made you feel really cool?
Oh, gee, I don't know. When I was a kid in Staten Island, we had a band called the Vagabond Missionaries. We started that when we were about 14, I guess. But I think we were pretty cool dressers before that. That's usually, a lot of times in my life when I was a kid, how I used to meet people because of the way they dressed and stuff. So certain groups of people would tend to congregate together and then make a rock and roll band, as opposed to like getting killed on a football field or something.
So when you were a kid, what rock and rollers' clothes do you remember admiring most? What style?
Oh, there's so much. I guess originally Little Richard was probably the first one that caught my eye. He used to wear those really drape suits, with the velvet collars. And but I used to like a lot of looks. I liked Bobby Rydell, with the cardigan sweaters, the red cardigan sweaters and stuff like that. And so much stuff, like everybody who came on American Bandstand, I guess, was just great looking.
What about Elvis and his redneck chic? Did that influence you at all?
No, I kind of had I think, a more of a cosmopolitan approach than Elvis. Elvis, I mean, I love Elvis, and I appreciate him for what he is, but he hasn't had a very profound effect on me, I don't think.
What about the Black
Bobby Darin, now that's another story.
What in particular about Bobby Darin?
He just really knew how to wear a tuxedo, very chic cat from the Bronx.
Speaking of tuxedos, we had Cab Calloway in here this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was interesting listening to him talk about his developing that whole zoot suit.
Yeah, he's kind of invented the zoot suit, Cab Calloway. At least he brought it into prominence.
Yeah, and was very, very into always looking sharp.
Yeah, he still looks pretty sharp.
Yeah.
What did he wear?
He had on a suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just regular, very nicely tailored suit.
Yeah, Cab Calloway's great. He's got so many great songs he made. Everybody Eats When They Come to My House. You ever heard that one?
No. That's a great title. What about the black stage wear of the 50s? The kind of updated suits that were worn by Little Richard and Billy and Chuck
Of the
Berry?
60s you're talking about now?
Of the 60s, yeah.
Well, the 60s, I think probably one of my favorite dresser was Smokey Robinson. He used to come out with some outlandish suits, but very chic. yellow suits and things like that. Great sweaters. He was a very sharp dresser, Smokey Robinson. Now, I used to like, more garish stuff too, James Brown and the Flames and stuff. I like that stuff too. But I think Smokey Robinson was the coolest dresser. There's so much stuff, though, it's hard to talk about it all because there's so much stuff that has an effect on people. Stylistically, it's hard to describe how you came about, like, who you are and stuff, influence-wise, because there's just so much little details here and there that you put together, that each person interprets their own way.
How important do you think fashion is to rock and roll, David?
How important is it? Just as important as it is to anything else. I mean, we live in a pretty fashionable hemisphere. So people like to dress up when they play rock and roll, I think. To me, it's very important. I know that when we had the dolls, we just thought that it was very, very important. We were early movers in the ecological scene. We used to wear anything. Recycled a lot of stuff.
Tell me about some of the outfits that stick in your mind.
From the dolls?
Yeah.
We used to get like Norma Kamali Toreador pants was a big fashion item, and a nice sensible pair of pumps. And Arthur Kane, the bass player, he used to wear a tutu, and platform shoes, a lot of platform shoes we used to wear. But we would wear anything. We would wear a garbage bag, take a garbage bag and cut holes in it and wear that. Lampshades, you name it. Wore a lot of stuff. We used to take like a man-tailored woman's suit jacket that you would buy in like a thrift shop, and think that we were very cool. I'm sure a lot of people thought it was very amusing the way we dressed, but we thought we were very chic. And on St. Mark's Place, we were definitely fashion leaders, very colloquial fashion leaders.
Was there any rhyme or reason to it? Was there anyone who, did you sit around and try to come up with a definite look, or did it just happen?
Yeah, it happened before we got together. That's how we met. We just, there was this bar in Greenwich Village we used to hang around in called Nobody's in the early 70s, and it was very kind of rock and roll fashion oriented bar. And most of the guys were like into this kind of Rod Stewart look, which is like, I think, a really dumb look. And we used to just kind of goof on them by wearing these outrageous costumes. And we also used to go to Max's Kansas City, and we would just see each other in both these places. There's nobody from Nobody's went to Max's, and nobody in Max's went to Nobody's except us. So we met that way and decided to make a band.
Could you have been the New York Dolls? Could you have gotten up on stage and performed if you just had to wear jeans and T-shirts? Would it have been the same thing?
Well, musically I would have, but it wouldn't have had the same visual effect, that's for sure. It wouldn't have scared the hell out of the homophobics.
What was one of your favorite places to shop during that period?
Oh, anywhere. Bonwit Teller, thrift shops on St. Mark's Place.
We're losing the continuity of, he's not answering into clarity. We have to incorporate the question.
Okay. In those days, there weren't as many places to shop as there are today. But we used to shop a lot in thrift stores in the Lower East Side on St. Mark's Place. We used to have a valet named Frenchie who owned a thrift shop. He used to always save the best drags for us. But I used to like to go to Shoe Biz at Bonwood Tellers. They had the best pumps. And Norma Kamali's we used to shop a lot at. And any place, really. You just walk down the street, and you see something in a window, polka dots or something, go in there and grab it.
Have you kept any of your clothes?
No. Clothes, you just go through. They're very disposable. You have a look for a week or two, and then it's gone. It's over. Or somebody takes it, or you give it to somebody. You know, with this Poindexter thing, it's very easy for me to just put on a tuxedo. And it's very nice at this time in my life not to have to think too much about what I'm going to wear when I go on stage.
How did this all come about? How did Buster come about?
Basically, it came about, I used to do it on off nights at Tramps, be Buster Poindexter and sing rhythm and blues songs. And it's an old moniker of mine. It's like the name I used to write on the subway. And I just used the name originally because I didn't want people to think that they were going to come and see a David Johansen show. I wanted them to know that it was going to be different. And so we started off as kind of a rhythm and blues oriented society. And now it's kind of blossomed into the longest running off-Broadway show.
And how did the whole look come about? I mean, just how did you know that this was right for Buster?
I don't know how I thought of it. I just told Joe, who is my musical director and accompanist, let's make sure everybody looks sharp and wears a tuxedo is basically the only law we had in the beginning. But now everybody doesn't really wear tuxedos. They wear kind of their idea of a tuxedo. So it's kind of evolving now. Not really official tuxedos.
It's a great jacket.
Yeah, Maria Del Greco made this jacket. She does good work, except it's falling apart.
Other than that, she was great. What about the Beatles, David? Did they have any effect on you? Let's go back in time.
Not when they first came out.
Uh-huh.
But years later, in the 70s, it was nice to get one of those kind of cardigan jackets or one of those Peter Pan kind of jackets, you know, with the Peter Pan collars. Those were a nice item to have, and they still are. But when they first came out, they didn't really do much for me, fashion-wise.
What about the Stones when they were going through their whole Edwardian frill and lace sort of period? What do you think about that?
Well, Brian Jones was a pretty snappy dresser throughout the time. I think I don't know. I don't know about what the rest of them used to wear. Kind of silly stuff, I guess. Kind of rangy looking. But Brian Jones was usually pretty sharp looking. He used to wear a lot of yellow.
Are you a big fan of yellow?
Yellow, that's the big color this year. Everybody's talking about yellow.
I have a yellow coat. That's
Oh,
hard to
good.
know.
This spring it's going to be big.
Oh, great. What about punk? Do you think it was a political fashion statement, or was it a musical fashion statement, or did you have an involvement?
Yeah, sure. Punk is you mean with the black leather jacket and the clothespin, I mean the safety pin through your ear kind of thing?
Sure.
Well, you know, black leather jacket has always been a definitive statement, you know, ever since the Wild Ones, I guess. It kind of says a lot, you know. And the Ramones all used to wear them. They wear them in the shower, black leather jackets. So, yeah, punk kind of came out of that whole thing of recycling a lot of clothes and stuff, you know, and ripped up clothes and stuff. So that's good, recycling, fashion. Then, you know, lots of times you can find a great item for $10 or something, and then some designer sees you wearing it, and then they start knocking them off, and they charge $500 for them or something, for a piece of junk. So it's interesting. You can look like a bum for $500, $600.
What do you think about the current state of rock and roll fashion? Is there anybody that you think is making a strong fashion statement today? Anybody who's a leader?
A leader? I don't know. You know, in rock and roll, there's like different camps now. You know, there's like all the heavy metal bands from the West Coast that dress like the Dolls used to dress, and then there's kind of people who wear suits, like you know, go on stage in a suit, and then there's just people who wear like blue jeans. There's not really a heck of a lot going on. Annie Lennox knows how to wear a dress. She looks pretty good.
And a tux.
And a tux as well. She looks good in a dress, though. She's got a nice shape on her.
What about somebody like Cyndi Lauper? Do you think Cindy's made a fashion statement?
Yeah, I think it's great for young girls, you know, to have people like that and Madonna because it gives them a way that they can dress up and get into their fantasies. And Cyndi Lauper, you can look like her, you know, on a very low budget, so it's good for kids. And they can just go into the attic and find their mother's old stuff, put it together. It's great. Makes them feel good, makes them happy. They can dance around in front of the mirror. It's very good. Think about being an adult. Dream about boys, you know, stuff like that.
What about David Bowie? Was David a fashion inspiration for you ever?
No, I used to like. I mean, he dresses well. You know, I don't think he ever inspired me to do anything. He never inspired me to put on a dress or anything.
Okay. Do you think that music is, for some people, just an excuse to dress up?
I don't know. I don't think you need an excuse to dress up. You know, you can just get dressed up and do anything. You can get dressed up and go out to dinner. You can get dressed up and stay home and have dinner. Or you can wear, you know, like a guinea tee and eat dinner. It doesn't matter, really. No, I don't think it's an excuse. I think people are going to dress up anyway. We used to dress up, you know, when the dolls, everybody would say, what do you do? And we would say, oh, we have a band. And then eventually we had to get one because, you know, we had to make one up because we had to, everybody say, yeah, have a band, when are you going to play? You know. I think a lot of bands started that way. Good ones, too.
That's it for me. Let me see if Penny has anything she needs to, that I've missed.
I'm so brain damaged, I can't even think. I'm
I
sure there's a
think you're
million
great.
things I could have talked about.
Oh, this is great. Hold on just a second.
I lost a lot of brain cells last night.